Here we go. So, why is Kirby's Return to Dreamland the best Kirby game ever? One word, nostalgia. Today I'm going to be talking about Kirby's Return to Dreamland, the game from over 10 years ago. This game is over 10 years old, and we are going to see today if it stands the test of time. I remember when this game came out on October 24th, 2011. Right after school, I went to the closest GameStop and picked this up. I played the game that night, and I was shocked by the way it felt. The next morning the game had come out. My brother and I ran to the Wii and we got started. We beat the game that night. After we beat it, I went all the way through the game a couple more times, just because I had so much fun the first time through. I remember booting up the game whenever a couple friends were over. We would always go through some levels and the arena mode. I also remember not wanting anyone else to be Kirby. I was canonically correct at a young age. So, after 10 years later, I wiped off my Wii U and I got started. I replayed the whole game again, and here is what I thought. When you open the game, the first thing you're asked to do is rotate the Wii remote sideways, as you'll be using the D-pad to move your character, and 1 and 2 buttons are to fight and jump. The game starts with Kirby, King Dedede, and Waddle Dee lollygagging around. Then, the main antagonist smashes into Dreamland on a ship. As the ship is falling, pieces of a ship are flying off the ship and being scattered around. Then, Kirby runs towards the ship. Meta Knight, King Dedede, and Waddle Dee follow him to the commotion. They all enter the ship and see a dead cookie monster named Megalore. He asks for help from Kirby and the gang to help him get the pieces from the ship. And so the journey begins. As soon as you jump into the first stage, you get hit with an intense nostalgia. It's really unmatchable to other games in my opinion. This is why I react to new Kirby games the way I do. Now, in this game, Kirby feels a little floaty. And normally I would say that's bad, but for some reason in this game, it just works so well. And with all the reliving of this game, I can't not talk about the music. It is perfect. Like, I mean perfect. It has an incredible original soundtrack. It sounds super happy with the flutes, recorders, bells, the string with a super cheery yet adventurous melodies throughout the whole game. The main theme is an absolute hit. Though a lot of the music is orchestral, it ties in really well with the synthy electronic music as well. And it gets really intense at the perfect times and helps guide your emotions. And of course, we gotta talk about the graphics. This game runs at a whopping 480p at 60 frames per second. I know, impressive, right? Well, back then the Wii had a 480p standard. 480 was how all games output. 60 frames per second is a home run. That's double the frame rate than Kirby Star Allies, the most recent 2D side-scrolling Kirby game. Though Kirby Star Allies is a little more graphically demanding, it has a better hardware, so I would have really liked to see 60 frames per second on Kirby Star Allies, just like Kirby's Return to Dreamland. The textures and effects aren't bad at all for this game. They're really good for a Wii game from over 10 years ago. It's quite impressive, actually. The overall art style isn't anything insanely unique, like Kirby's Epic Yarn or Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, but it did start this new 3D style look on a 2D Kirby game. And this art style was also incorporated into games like Kirby's Triple Deluxe and Kirby Planet Robobot. Now let's go through the worlds. There are 6 worlds from 4 to 6 levels in each world, including bosses. The first world, which is actually called a level, but I'll just refer to them as worlds, and then levels as levels. I'll refer to the stages as levels, the levels as worlds. In the first world, Cookie Country, it's a grass-type world, a classic beginner Kirby opening world. First level is a basic tutorial level. Learn how to run, suck, mega suck, jump, fly, copy, fight, and bowling. As you go through every level, there's a set amount of gears you collect. The more gears you collect, the more things you unlock on Megalore's ship. Things like power-up trials and games you can play with other people. Second world, called Raisin Ruins, a desert-themed world. Once again, it's a second world, so it's pretty easy getting through. Third world, Onion Ocean, is water-filled and very hydrated like me after I drank water this morning. And if you can't tell yet, every world is named after a food. Pretty random, but it's neat. World 4 is called White Wafers. It has snow. World 5, Nutty Noon, is your classic sky levels. I don't know why it's called Nutty Noon, but it's... World 6, Egg Engines, is your first world off of Planet Popstar, with a lot of mechanical and tech vibes. World 7, Dangerous Dinner, is your classic final world with volcanoes and fire levels. Now that we've gone through all the worlds, let's look at the copy abilities, or super abilities. You can get super abilities like a massive sword, and pretty much in every stage that has a super ability, at the end of the stage, you can jump into these black holes. If you go into these black holes, a purple wall that is trying to absorb you is chasing you, and you gotta get through these stages as fast as possible. At the very end of these black hole segments, you're rewarded with a boss and you can get 2 gears. There are also some fun little gimmicks throughout the stage. Like in some stages, there's power-ups like overhead shields, a cannon blaster, and a spiky boot. These type of additions to a level can really spice things up, or get rather annoying. But most of the time, if you master these power-ups, it will reward you with a gear or 2. Throughout this game, you see a massive amount of power-ups. And power-ups are just like a seatbelt. You don't need them, but they're there to help. And there is a lot of power-ups, so let's quickly go through them all. Sword, spam the 1 button and puncture, slice and slash enemies. You can even shoot sword beams and fight in the air. Fire, by holding down 1 you spray out fire. You can also move the D-pad to control where the fire goes. By holding back the fire button, you can also ignite yourself on fire. And by jumping and holding down 1, Kirby spins and flies across the terrain, setting any enemy ablaze. Needle. Unlike Needle and Kirby in the Forgotten Land, you just stationary fight. Spike up stabs and needle spray. Leaf. Just like Mega Man, throw leaves around you and throw them like a leaf dance. Cutter. Cutter is a powerful boomerang attack. If you're close to an enemy, you perform melee attacks. By holding 1, you charge your throw and boomerang gets larger and more powerful. It will bounce around the stage in max form. Spark. Press 1 and surround yourself with electricity. Hold up the D-pad to be Thor. And hold down the D-pad to be Thor, but down. Beam. It's like an electric whip. You can even use it through walls. Press 1 in the air and fire downwards to shoot yourself up with the momentum. Hold the 1 button and charge up and boom! Whip. Become Simon Belmont and whip up, down, and through walls. Parasol. Slowly fall down and hold out your umbrella to continually damage enemies. Stone. Kirby becomes the Rock. Water. Slip and slide everywhere. Hover above the water by shooting water downwards and spray water upwards to attack anything above you. High jump. Probably the most useless power-up. Shoots you upwards with barely any control, but it's there. Tornado. Spin around and fly at uncontrollable speeds. Bomb. Throw and roll bombs. This power-up does massive damage and can be used very fast. Spear. Hold the 1 button to hover in the air. Move forward and attack to throw spears, and press 1 on the ground to stab. When you spam the attack button, you do a flurry of jabs. Ice. You're cold. It's pretty much the fire ability, just you freeze things. Hammer. Become Thor again and smash your foes. Hold 1 to charge an attack and quickly slam enemies. Fighter. Satisfying to pull off combos, and you get an epic headband. Wing. This is an amazing ability that makes you fly fast like Meta Knight and gives you decent fighting powers. Ninja. Is a close fighting ninja throw its sheet. Crash. Explodes. And is also a bandicoot. Mike is Mike. Sleep is dumb. And the mega power-ups. Whoo! Flare Beam! Summon a giant floatable beam like Pikachu in Brawl, destroying anything in your way. It also lights up candles and opens voids. Grand Hammer! Press the 1 button and shake and hit stuff down. Monster Flame! Summon Shenron from Dragon Ball Z and collect 7 Dragon Balls and wish for 1. Oh wait, this is a fire dragon that flies across the stage. Snowball. Annoy whoever is playing with you by shaking the remote and flying off the screen in a snowball, and strike through pins. Ultra Sword. This is Kirby's final smash, and is the Kirby that's on the main cover of the game. And now that we're done talking about power-ups, let's go over an essential part of enjoying this game to the absolute fullest, and that's multiplayer. Though sometimes it can be a little annoying when you're playing against Kirby and you suck up the other people and they don't want you to suck them up, or maybe you unintentionally, if you're playing as another Kirby, take another power-up from someone else. And because it's a 2D side-scroller and you're so limited to where you're going on the screen, people tend to get in the way. And that always happens in 2D side-scroller multiplayer vibes. It's still a lot of fun, but it just can be annoying sometimes. Playing this game with the 4 main protagonists is amazing. Kirby, Waddle Dee, Candy D, and Meta Knight. They're not, Candy D and Waddle Dee, they're enemies. Meta Knight you don't play as in many games, and Kirby is Kirby. You don't see these characters playing together in many other games, at least in this fashion. So it's just an amazing feeling having all these characters team up with each other and play with each other and have their own expressions in the game and be so involved in the main story of the game. And that made the game so much more special to me when I was growing up playing it. And now I'm going to be talking about the ending. So, that being said, if you don't want to know the end of this game, you can click off now, or you can skip to this timestamp. As I was finishing this game, I was so excited to relive the ending. As you went to the last boss and start fighting the dragons, which die off way too easy because of course you learn that your friend Megalore is your true enemy. He takes a crown from the dragons and flies off. The dragons then come to your aid, and now there is a 2D side-scrolling part where you fly on the dragons and get through the course. While you're on the dragons, you come in contact with the ship you helped fix, and it starts fighting you! As you and the dragons fight your way through the ship, it's an intense battle with powerful music to help build the suspense. And once you beat the ship, it's not over. You then fight the man himself, Megalore! As you continue the epic battle and sweat is dripping down your face, you keep pushing. What's amazing is that near the end of the battle, it incorporates the mega power-ups. The stars on his body indicate that he's gonna get struck by these mega power-ups. And as you're fighting him off with the giant sword, everything turns silent and you just feel like this is it. Like you just finished the game. And that makes sense because of how great those battles were. But nope! One final battle with his evolved version. It was an epic battle of the ages with the music once again adding to the experience so much more. And once you get the last strike, he vanishes. And when you finally do it, you see the ground falling right from underneath the gang. And right before they start falling, once again, the dragons save you. As the game came to a close, you saw Kirby, Waddle Dee, Meta Knight, and King Dedede on a hill, astonished by what they had achieved, all laughing together, and the music goes so well in this last scene, like the end of a perfect story. Then the credits roll. I was in disbelief when I finished. I was so happy from the overwhelming nostalgia that hit me in the end. I just sat there watching the credits roll in complete shock. I had great memories with my brother and friends playing this game, and it was incredible both times. And after you complete the game, a new game mode opens up called The Arena. Here you go through every boss fight and play them simultaneously. You also unlock Extra Mode. Extra Mode is unlocked as soon as you beat the main story mode and you've found 50 of the 20 energy spheres. Once you're in Extra Mode, you'll notice you have less HP and areas and bosses will be harder. And once you're done Extra Mode, you unlock another mode called The True Ending. And maybe once you've completed the game, you'll want to check with the other sub-games and trials. The sub-games are Ninja Dojo and Scope Shot. These are little games that you can play with family or friends to challenge your skills. In Ninja Dojo, you swing your Wii remote and try to hit bullseye. As you play, you unlock new and harder stages. In Scope Shot, you try to destroy parts of the machine fast. The more points, the better. As you play these stages, you'll get harder and bigger machines to destroy. And that is Kirby's Return to Dreamland. What a great time. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you check out my website, russvandy.com, to get the sickest merch. Here's Kirby Mouthful hat. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Share it with someone who you think will enjoy it. I will see you in the next one. See you later.